Right, going live. I have prepared myself to talk into the abyss, but maybe some of you will watch it, will join me later, or join during the broadcast. So this is my 400 subscribers celebration and Q&A. And of course, I've been inundated with queues, but just kidding. I'm a relatively small channel. I'm just starting out. So I've had one question from a friend. Thanks, friend. Uh, I'll be right back. I need to shut up my headphones because they're repeating what I'm saying. See you in a second. Uh, is that really what I sound like? Okay, right. So welcome. Oh, I've got somebody who joined us. Sorry, I didn't see your name, but hi, welcome. Thanks for joining my live Q&A celebration. And as I was just saying before, I was interrupted rudely by my own headphones and my own voice. Is I want to celebrate 400 subscribers because it hasn't been easy. Thank you all. And I thought we'll do this as a Q&A, as a very small channel. There is one problem, not... Oh, thank you, Anne Brady. Hi. So I've asked AI, after I've fed it some information about myself, to send me some cues. But before I do this, and well, we'll maybe waiting for a few more people to join, I thought I'd shout out uh, just a few people. Oh, I brought this up earlier. Ah, here they are. I shout out a few people who subscribed. So that's 400 of you. Sorry, I can't mention everyone, but here we go. So thank you for subscribing. Labrand Fisher Bubbles, Inferno Penguin, great nickname. Bacon, Splitsy Latte Happy Gamers. Thank you, Mario Luigi 8185. Things are getting fire. Joe's Gaming 123 and Ava Shadik. Amazing. Thank you so much for subscribing. Without you, this journey would be a lot lonelier. Just to remind you, you can still ask questions. Oh, hello, Jack. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the One OG. You can put questions in the live stream, and if I see them, I will answer them. But I will pick some questions from the basket of AI, and I've also included one or two questions that I've been asked by real people. So here is question number one that I have been asked. So you moved to London at 19. Do you think that's an ideal age for language immersion, or would earlier, later have been different? I think at 19 you're already getting on a little bit for true language immersion. The prime age to truly immerse yourself is when you're a baby. But the second best option is now. Language immersion. Oh, hi Jack Whiston, thanks for the sub. Um, so, okay. So to go back into answering the questions. Oh, I've got another sub. Thank you so much, guys. What was I saying? Answering question. Language immersion. So best time to immerse yourself into a language and learn it bilingually is as a baby. Second best option is today. So, I mean, that's not always really practical, but if you're learning a language, the very best thing that you can do is making sure that you immerse yourself. You can do that by watching programs, putting on a radio station. There's a really cool website or app called TuneIn Radio, and that lets you listen to radio stations from all over the world. So you can just put that on, immerse yourself. You just need to be prepared that you'll be listening to a wall of noise, first of all. Um, right. I have one question. Do you go to the gym? No, not that sporty, but thanks for the question. Wonder what prompted you to ask that. Okay. This is a really cool question. I think sometimes um, getting AI to ask you questions is a fantastic thing because you start looking at the work, and sort of go. I would have never I would have never known or looked at it this way. So this question, sorry for the suspense, is was English taught differently in East Germany versus West Germany during school years? So for the people who don't know me, people who've just joined, I grew up in East Germany, and I have to say, I mean, this question is almost a little bit too simplistic because if you know anything about the German education system, you know it's 16 different education systems, and the curriculum will have been slightly different for foreign languages in all states. I've got a few more people saying hi, Alexander Zimmerman, hi, Naila. Right, so back on track. I need to figure out how to sort of greet everyone as well as sort of answering the questions. So, 16 different education systems. Languages will have been taught a little bit differently in all of them. The curriculum will have been different. And there's also like a three-tier school system. That one is consistent. So, broadly, this question is pretty much like how long is a piece of string? Well, I can say it was possibly interesting about when I went to school, which would have been sort of in the early noughties, and primary school when we sort of started doing a little bit of English, was that a lot of my English teachers were sort of retrained Russian teachers. So they could sort of in their adult years would have just would have just sort of been told, well, thanks for learning Russian and teaching our kids, but you're going to have to retrain. And having said that, their English was sometimes like somebody who's learned English from books. I don't think like the next generation of East German kids have that problem. I think all English teachers will sound a little bit less German, but that was something quite interesting in my days. Do we have any other questions? We've got. Do your cats have German names? Again, so sort of catching you guys up. I have two cats, and I think they've got quite international names because they're bilingual. So my cats are called Oscar and Hector, and what I can say about Hector is that he absolutely despises German. Alexander is asking, how can we book you? What an excellent question, Alex. Some people could almost say that we're friends in real life. You can book me by going on my website, www.londonlanguagehub.co.uk. That's all one word. Or you can just Google London Language Hub. And you can send me an email or a WhatsApp and we'll sort out lessons. What an excellent question. Thank you, Alex. Okay, what else have we got? Did growing up in a smaller, more regional community shape how you think about language and identity? So I saw this. This is another AI question. And I have to say that That's like quite a puzzling question. And I've never really thought about that. But yes, of course, like our environment shapes who we are, the people, the language. And one thing that you'll see when you learn different languages, excuse me, is that every language, because it's because there's sort of some words that only exist in certain languages, like Schadenfreude is a very famous example in German. It does shape who you are. It does make a difference to uh, it does make a difference in how we sort of think about certain concepts, because in some languages you have the vocabulary for something and in some languages you don't. But does that have anything to do with like the size of the community? It must do. But I think I would want to look into this a little bit further. Ooh, another excellent question from Alexander. Is there a taster course? Yes, there's a taster course. If you book a lesson with us, the first lesson is always bookable at subscription price. So it's not a huge saving, but it's some saving. I do have to live. Um, sorry. Okie dokie. But again, what's an excellent question? What else have we got? I put well, too many pieces of paper. uh, what happens if one language becomes dominant and the other fades? Right, I think this is evidence that this is AI making the questions. I've been inundated with real questions. Interesting. I mean, this will happen. Essentially, when you're learning a language, if you spend more energy and time building one language, then you will almost inevitably um, you will almost inevitably strengthen that language and forget stuff in other languages. I always I always like to compare learning a language with training a muscle. So if you're training your English muscle and you're neglecting your German muscle, then that arm will be stacked and this arm will be weak. I've got a question from M. Brady. Do your own hobbies and interests influence your approach to teaching German? And what about the hobbies and interests of your students? Great question, M. Brady. Um, Thank you. Uh, yes, I think I'm kind of obviously I like to read a lot, which helps when you're teaching generally, and it helps when you're learning a language. But um, most hobbies, there is a way to sort of integrate them into your teaching life, and you learn through your hobbies. You learn skills, you learn things that you wouldn't have known otherwise. So yeah, that's a great question, and you can absolutely use your hobbies to your advantage. And what's my train of thought there? What was I going to say? So if you look around and you read about your hobbies, so lots of the kids that I teach, for example, are into football, and of course, there's lots of information in German out about football. You can pick yourself a Bundesliga team, and then I've got a few kids who um, like supported Harry Kane, who's now playing for Bayern Munich, and you say, like, Harry Kane has to learn German. So always good to work with your interests, and also if we've got some parents listening who want to support their kids learning German, always work with their interests. Find information in the language. I've got some more questions. Oh, that is a fantastic compliment. Thank you for Ribena is good. Ribena is good. What an excellent name. Thank you. I feel like I'm struggling a little bit. I'm losing my train of thought, but thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. We've got a question from Paul. German is hard to learn. Been trying for a while. Ended up learning Italian. It's much easier for me. Okay, not a question, but a statement. Yeah, German does love details. So I don't blame you for going into Italian. I've dabbled a little bit with Italian, and it does have a lot more straightforward grammar. So if messing around with endings is not for you, then Italian is a good solution, or English. But if English is your native language, Italian is the next best thing. I shouldn't say that. No, no, no. German is great. German is for people. German is for people who like their language to punish them a little bit. Okay, Alexander Zimmermann, the man with the most German name in the world, would you be able to prep me for my German exam as I have to take my citizenship test soon? Yes, I can. Go to my website, londonlanguagehub.co.uk, and um, send me an email, and we'll get you sorted with some lessons. And just because it's you, you will get my special chili day discount. Thanks, Alex. Let's take another question that AI has prepared for us. But loving the questions that you guys have for me as well. Okay. Did navigating business in a second language teach you anything about how language and confidence are connected? Wow. Deep AI. Thank you, Claude. So navigating, I have to say, when I started my business at 20, I was already pretty good in English. So I learned English at school. I've been doing it for years. I've done my A levels in German, but sort of going in the real world, and especially having phone calls, um, was definitely challenging at some times. And something that I did definitely find, not so much with confidence, but in terms of communication styles, German communication style, or let's say British people communicate very, very differently from Germans. Have you made that experience too? So if in German I say, oh, I need this product by this day, I can say that to my clients, I can say this to my customers, I can say this to my suppliers. But in English, you have to sugarcoat it, and you have to inquire about their wife and their dog and their goldfish, um, so that it doesn't come across that you're only emailing or calling them because of that one question, even that though that is exactly why you're calling them. Also giving feedback to students. I mean, to students, it's a little bit different because you really have a one-to-one relationship with them, so you can sort of see this is going well. But again, you kind of have to make sure that you reassure the Brit before you give, like, that was wrong, that wasn't good. And when I was working in a business as well, I realized that, like, really direct feedback flies in Germany. So there was something that I was managing a team in a call center, and I talked to one caller who said something that was not true and could land us in hot water, and I said, you can't do that. That was really bad, and that poor guy was devastated. He made an honest mistake. But again, in English, you have to deploy something that I always like to call the shit sandwich, which is something good, the message, and something good again. And then communication works as well. I've got some more questions. Um, if you're doing online for languages, do you have a good app to use. So like what's a good app for learning languages? Um, it depends a little bit on what you want to do. Lots of people use Duolingo. I'm not a huge fan of, especially the later incarnations of Duolingo. Um, Something that is pretty good is an app called Anki. You can make your own flashcards. Um, I think you can also like download pre-made packs. So if you want to just increase your vocabulary, then the second best thing to using actual physical flashcards and writing them out, um, you can also use you can use that app and do some spaced repetition, which is a great way of doing languages. And there is one app that I really do like, which is called LingoPie. This is a paid for app, but they do a free do a free test, and I'm not getting paid by them, but essentially what you do is like Netflix for learning languages. You can watch programs, and you have like a transcript right next to it. So it's not just like watching a program with subtitles. So you've got a transcript in the original language right next to it. You can look at different translations, and it's a great way to sort of ease yourself into immersion. Um, but real life always beats online. And I'm not only saying that because I prefer to teach in real life. It's just there is something about interacting with people and being able to sort of grasp and get your hands around certain things that you just don't get from an app. And of course, there are lots of apps saying, "Oh, we're the one app where you actually will learn the language." Well, they would say that they want you to buy their app. We've got another question from M. Brady. Are there any German language novels that you'd recommend to relatively advanced level students? And how do you feel about adult learners using children's books to build German vocabulary? Great question. So language novels, there is actually a list on my website of books that we've discussed in our book club. So we've also got a book club. Did I mention that? Um, and these books have all sort of been vetted to be suitable from a B1 level. Um, so the books that have been really popular with our readers are, have I got it here? No, sorry. I'm surrounded by a lot of my books here. A Chick by Wolfgang Herrndorf. That's like a youth novel. The language is quite straightforward. Um, um, all the readers in our book club have really enjoyed that and found it easy to follow along. So it was sorry, water. Always recommend that. I will put a link to that in the description after this stream. So anyone who's interested in checking this book out should go for it. For your second questions, how do you feel about adult learners using children's books to build German vocabulary? Now, German is a really quite a pernickety little language. And I found that even with children's books, a lot of people got frustrated. Um, if you are a beginner and you want to immerse yourself into reading reading a longer text, there is a really good book series out there called Café in Berlin by, I think the guy is called Andre Klein. He's a German language teacher, so a colleague. Always really recommend his stuff. His books are written for A1 level and they get progressively a little bit harder. So they are a really, really good alternative to children's books, which sometimes get a little bit frustrating, especially if you think, oh, I'm reading a book for 5-year-olds and I don't understand anything. Okay, I've got another question. Okay, so it's just Duolingo. So talking about Duolingo, yeah. Duolingo is, I mean, they're the biggest one. Everybody's heard of them. And the one thing that they will do, they do a form of spaced repetition. It's just for German because German grammar, I think, really does need somebody um to tell you it's not you, it's German, and to not worry about the daddy das situation too much. Um, I think Duolingo is just not fit for purpose when it comes to German. I've tried it for learning French and I also didn't really get on with it. Hello, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. I'm the one thing, my throat is getting drier and drier, but other than that, I'm having a really good time. Thank you so much for stopping by. Right, what else have we got? Uh, let's do a few more questions. I think half an hour is probably what I can do for you today. What have we got? What was it like growing up in a small village in the former East Germany? Did you feel the legacy of reunification in everyday life? Another big question. Okay. So as our resident Aussie, that's what we call us East Germans. Well, don't say that to East Germans. I can say that because I am one. I'm not a fan of village life. So at 19, I moved to London because I felt that the small village East Germany was a little bit too small for me. Um, and I sort of grew up in a really interesting time. Sort of, was born in 1988. Didn't really um, consciously experience the GDR, but I can't claim that I've just dipped my toe into GDR live. And in a way, by the time I was sort of aware of like an East versus West thing, and that East Germany and West Germany have a separate, in a way, history. There wasn't really, it didn't really feel like the former GDR anymore. And yeah, did I feel the legacy of reunification in everyday life? Reunification. Ooh. I mean, anyone who's been to Germany recently knows that reunification is a work in progress. Um, I think there is like awareness, especially in the older generation. I find, but maybe this is because most of the time when I interact with West Germans, um, it's on, say, neutral turf in London. It doesn't really feel relevant in my generation. If I talk to people of sort of my age, sort of between sort of 32 to 40 or younger, we're all sort of Germans and we can laugh about our differences. But I do find that in my parents' generation, there is a feeling of there are other, and if we are going to get slightly political, um, is that I feel like a lot of people who lived through the reunification, um, there is a feeling of almost let down that they sort of supported that what they supported is not exactly what they expected. But I mean that's a discussion for a different day, I think. Uh, will you ever move back to the Vaterland? Nein! Sorry, it's full of Germans. That's not gonna happen. Um, I feel like London is my spiritual home, as the Germans say, meine Heimat. And you will have to drag me off this island. clinging on to the white cliffs of Dover. Sorry. Last question for today is I did have a question from real life. I remember it because it was the only question that was submitted in advance. Is Bavaria part of Germany? Submitted by one Alexander Zimmerman, who's again, Chili the discount is definitely on for you. Is Bavaria part of Germany? No, I think the jury's still out on that one. What do you think? Let me know. Are you teaching any other languages besides German? I personally only teach German. I have dabbled in teaching English a bit, but I haven't done it for a long, long time. But at London Language Hub, you can also learn French and Spanish. What is reason for what? Ravina, what is reason for what? Okay, I come back to that question. If it is for not moving back to Vaterland, the reason is it's full of Germans. I just love my life in the UK, and I do think that Germany and I were better off sort of long distance. Now, of course, you all wanted to ask one question, and that is, how can I support your channel, Eva? How can I support you becoming the next big YouTuber? I have an answer for that. You can buy me a coffee. You can just scan this QR code or follow the link in the description. Scan. Have you scanned it yet? I'll hold up so you can scan it. But there are also some free ways to support me. So if you don't want to put your hands in your pockets, you can also like my videos, watch them all the way through. The YouTube algorithm loves it when you watch the video all the way through, maybe 2 or 3 times as well, if you really want to support me. And comment on my videos, talk to me, have a conversation with me. That's amazing. And every time you interact with my channel, it grows a little bit more, and I can give you more valuable information about learning languages and German, and the occasional culture shock. Right. That's 403 subscribers. Boom, boom, boom indeed. Right. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna have to drink like a liter of water. But I think we're gonna do this again. This was fun, and I will see you in one of my shorts. I posted one an hour ago. If you want to go check that out, that's another way you can support my channel. And we'll do this again very, very soon. Goodbye. Thank you. You're welcome. And we're logging off. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for all your questions. This was really fun.